Hello, I'm Nisha Mathur and welcome to Keys to Kismet. Our show features amazing individuals who have found their keys to Kismet. They've taken these keys and unlocked not only their own destinies, but have made a difference in the lives of others in very unique ways. A growing number of young girls and women say they're unhappy with the way they look. Girls report struggling with body image and self-esteem at younger and younger ages, and stories abound about bullying around appearance. Well, it's time to step up and change social norms with a campaign that provides a message of positivity that promotes healthy living and positive body image. Today, we feature two amazing young women who have battled public stigma and have simply learned to love themselves. Sana, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
You are a true ambassador to empower the younger generation to love themselves and be comfortable in their skin. And I commend you for that. And we'd love to hear your story. And I'd like to backtrack to when you were 3 years old.
Right.
You were diagnosed with a hair loss condition called alopecia.
Right.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so basically alopecia is an autoimmune condition that causes your body to think hair is a disease, so it fights it off. So when I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with alopecia areata, which is actually the least severe form, but still it leaves you with bald patches all over your head. And my mom always had to work pretty hard to cover them up and make sure that I had a pretty normal childhood, but it was rough. And my alopecia actually developed with the years, and it was about in my 7th grade year, right in the middle of middle school, when I found out that I was losing all of my hair strand by strand.
While most of her friends got up in the morning wondering what they would wear or how they would do their makeup, Sana looked in the mirror struggling to cover her bald head. What were your feelings as you were going through this in in middle school?
I honestly couldn't even look in the mirror when I first lost my hair. It was so difficult. My first initial reaction was cover it up, buy a wig, don't let anybody know. Your friends are never gonna find out, your family will never find out. This is just something you're gonna deal with alone. And I got into a really, really dark place because I always felt by myself. I always felt like I was hiding a big part of who I was, and it was just an extremely painful experience. I had zero confidence. Like, I lost my hair, but I also lost all of my confidence that morning, and it was just very rough.
When you looked in the mirror at that point of time, what did you see?
I just saw someone who could never be beautiful, someone who no one's ever gonna want, someone who her family's not even proud of. And so I thought, how can I be proud of myself if this is the way I look?
Sana, tell us about some of the things that were said to you in school and by the community while you were going through this phase.
Right. So, I mean, in school, it was probably some of the hardest days I've ever gone through. The bullying just got out of hand. Why do people want me, or want to hurt me so badly when this is all about something I can't even control? And people would call me fake, and they said that I was only wearing the wig for attention when they didn't even know the story. They didn't even, know what I was going through behind it. And it was just very, very difficult for me to deal with. And then, I wanted to turn to my community for support, but then when I'd look in the community, I had relatives, aunts, uncles, just community members saying, how is she going to get married? How is she going to find someone that's going to ever fall in love with her? What family would want to accept a proposal from someone who looks like that? And
you said something very interesting to me about marriage before we even started rolling with this interview. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, I just think that if a guy is going to marry me because I'm pretty and I'm wearing a wig, then maybe I don't want that guy to marry me anyway. I think it's very cool how I'm going to find a guy one day that loves all of me, all parts of me, physically and internally. And I know you said that one day everything physical sheds away and all you have left is what's on the inside. And I want a guy to fall in love with me for everything that I am on the inside and the outside.
Sana wore a wig around the house. She had a wig that she wore to events, to school. She never showed her natural self. Did you think the wig would kind of take care of everything?
Right. I thought wearing a wig would fix all of my problems. I thought, I don't have any hair, so the easiest way to cover that up is to buy a wig, and then everything will be okay. Everything can go back to normal. But that wasn't the case at all, because I fixed what was on the outside, but the inside still had a lot of fixing to do, and that's what I've learned.
When we return, Sana tells us what it was like to let go of her wig. Sana struggled with her baldness for several years, but one fine day she decided to let go of her insecurities. How did you let go of those insecurities and one day decide that you were not going to wear your wig anymore?
I was no longer the person I wanted to be. And so then that's when I knew something had to change. I hit rock bottom, but I was like, either I can keep going down in this direction and maybe not even be here anymore one day, or I can get up and I can change something. And that's when I made the decision to go without my wig. And it was definitely a slow process. It wasn't just, you know, you wake up one morning and you love yourself. It takes working every day. It takes, you know, sometimes you have bad days. You know, I'll see someone in the grocery store and their daughter will be pointing at me and she'll be like whispering to her mom, like, look, that girl doesn't have any hair. And it'll be really hurtful, but it's just about realizing that it's taking it one day at a time and understanding the world better, so.
What was that first day like, the first day that you decided to go public without the wig? What was that day like?
Oh man, I remember my brother drove me to school that day and I didn't even want to get out of the car. I was just sitting in the car and I was frozen. And I thought, you know, I would step out of the car and everybody would see me and the whole world would stop and everybody would gasp and everybody would keep staring. But I told myself, no, 15 seconds of insane courage, you get out there, you take that step, and then you see how it goes, and you're gonna deal with it no matter how it goes. And you have people who love you no matter how it goes. So I went and I took a step out of the car and I walked into school and you know, there were a couple stairs here and there, but it was nowhere near as bad as I imagined. I think it was just taking that first initial step of courage, putting yourself out there, taking that risk, and then just dealing with the consequences, no matter if they're negative or positive. And in my case, everything turned out okay. It was scary and there were hard days, but everything really did turn out for the best.
मेरे को ऐसा होता था कि मेरी लड़की को क्या होगा कैसे, लेकिन जब ये बड़ी हुई और उसको उसने खुद ने यानी बाल निकाल दिए और हौसला करा, तो मेरे को बहुत यानी मैं भी उसके साथ हो गई. गॉड के बिलीव से वो बहुत आगे है और इंशाल्लाह बहुत आगे जाएगी.
What inspired you to develop the idea of Natural Day?
Maybe if I had a day, or if the whole world had a day where we could all take this step together, hand in hand, then the world would be a better place. More people would feel inclined to open up, more people would share their story, and that's where I came up with the concept of Natural Day. It's to help people let go of the one thing that's holding them back together, no matter what that thing may be.
It's a day where I challenge people to let go of the one thing that ties them down. In everyday life, people are chained down by so much insecurity. Natural Day is about breaking free from those chains.
When did you realize that you're making a difference with this?
I think the day or the moment that I realized that I was really making an impact was when I saw a 7th grade girl who had just lost all her hair, and she said that she was making the decision about buying a wig or just going without it, and she made the decision to just go without the wig. And at that moment, I felt like I had saved her from all of the pain I went through.
Sana believes that the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are and feeling comfortable in your skin. What would you like to say to our viewers out there on why it's okay to be yourself?
I think being yourself is the most beautiful thing that you could be. And once you find self-acceptance and confidence, it changes your whole world. And I just think that if I could give one message to all the viewers out there, it would just to fall in love with yourself. Completely fall in love with every detail about yourself, you know, your hair, your face, your skin. Even the things that you hate the most, fall in love with them and learn to accept them and learn that they make you who you are, and who you are is special and unique. And I think that's so important. And I think that my job will be complete when I see people from all around the world standing up and sharing their stories to continue this movement even way past me. So
Fabulous. One word that describes you, Sana, in my eyes, is beautiful.
thank you.
And it was an honor to meet you.
You too.
Thank
you.
It was hard at first but then it actually became pretty enjoyable.
It actually freed me up even more to be low maintenance.
Today, 5 minutes to get ready.
I always feel like at the gym, like, oh, I'm looking in the mirror to check my form. But really, I'm like looking to criticize myself. I noticed a big difference. The workout went way faster because I wasn't sitting there criticizing myself.
If you don't have anything nice to say about yourself, don't look in a mirror. And I'm so much happier when I don't have the opportunity to say those things.
My goal is to look in the mirror and kind of like, instead of.
This past week was probably the most body positive I've felt about myself. I was just so surprised by what I think about myself is what puts me down the most. I'm the one who's mean to myself. Like, it's not anybody else. It's really just me.
Everybody should try this. Free ourselves from the chain of the mirror.
I had to lose it to appreciate it.
When we return, we talk to a talented young lady who talks about life facing skin color discrimination. With a vast number of skin whitening products promoted by Indian celebrities and comments made by individuals in our community, it quickly becomes clear the country is obsessed with fair skin. However, those who face skin color discrimination can be hurt and face low self-esteem. We now talk to Ramya Ramana, a New York City poet laureate and writer, who talks about her journey facing skin color bias. Ramya, thank you so much for joining us. You are an ambassador, a role model for the younger generation to feel comfortable in their skin and confident about who they are. You were born in Queens to immigrant parents who came from Tamil Nadu. You then moved around a bit, ended up in Stony Brook for a better school system. Tell us what life was like for you in Stony Brook.
Yeah, well, coming from Queens and then moving to Coram, all the way to Stony Brook, you can tell that the diversity and what the people look like in each place are completely different. So in Stony Brook, it was a predominantly white neighborhood, and growing up and going to school there and not being able to identify with the people around me, I never felt like I was equal. I always felt like I was like below them. And then at home, you know, my family just dealing with a lot of like internalized racism, internalized hate, and feeling like if you have darker skin, it's not good, and if you have lighter skin, it's better. That was something that was fed to me from early on, like a self-hate message.
Ramya faced tremendous insecurity as a teen who was constantly taunted for her dark complexion, not just by strangers, but by family members as well. So you were led to believe that a darker complexion is not good.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel at such a young age?
Well, at first, like even some people in my family, though they was well-intentioned, they would, you know, give me Fair and Lovely creams, tell me, you know, don't go out in the sun for too long. And so for me, like, I just thought it was normal. You know, I didn't see it as wrong and right. I just thought, okay, this is what I should obey. And then when you go to school and you hear kind of like the same dialogue, like I'm better than you because I'm not dark and I'm lighter, you kind of internalize that dialogue and you think that, okay, there's something that's naturally wrong with you, and that's fed to you from really young.
I don't think it's important for me to be fair. I don't feel that need to be. I'm happy like the way I look.
People should not discriminate, like the fair people should not discriminate the people who are dark, because that's also it's really bad. And the people like feel bad like within and they don't want to show it out and all that stuff. But I think everyone is like beautiful on their own part.
And not be something else. I mean, you don't have to be fairer, you don't have to be thinner, you don't have to be fatter. Just be yourself. Just love yourself.
Ramya was constantly reminded by her own family that in society, the lighter, the better, and the more privileged. How did your family and friends perceive your looks?
Like my sister is like maybe half a shade lighter than me, but she was treated a lot different than I was because she was lighter. And like, you know, we would hear things like, oh, you know, like, who's gonna marry you, and you know, things like that. And I think that happens in a lot of South Asian families where, you know, darker women are told that, and you kind of have to sweep it under the rug, you know. You can't speak out about it.
And it's often done, maybe not directly, but indirectly. But it's so hurtful.
For sure.
Ramya tells us how she uses the power of poetry to heal. Well, Ramya, you obviously found a way to move forward and not let the hurt pull you back. You are a New York City Poet Laureate. Tell us how that came about, what that is, first of all, what an honor that is, and how does the poetry help you cope with some of the hurt that you have internally?
Well, so to be the New York City Youth Poet Laureate, it means you get to represent New York City for a year as a poetic representation. And so I actually won my title by writing a poem about Miss America, our last Miss America, Nina Davaluri.
In your own words, what is true beauty?
Well, I think true beauty is like for someone to be unapologetically themselves and to love who they are and to be free. Like whenever I see somebody that's really free, they're always laughing, they're always joyful, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, where's that source? Where's that fulfillment of happiness? And I think that's something I'm still working on, and I'm still working to reach. But for me, that's what I see true beauty as, somebody that's completely comfortable and can break all boundaries, just existing, you know?
At the age of 3, I've tasted the nectar of silence, pledged my face in the mirror and wondered why I was so ugly, how my face depicted a crow, how I looked like a walking carcass, my cheekbones resembled a puddle of exorcism, my smile, the backbone of genocide. I never knew anything could be so hideous. Bullying was all too familiar for my brown flesh, frolicking in a river of Caucasian. I used to wish I was white.
What message do you have to those out there who do practice skin color discrimination or even believe in it or support it? What would you like to say based on your life experiences?
Well, first and foremost is like that I hope whoever's saying that, I hope that they heal internally, because I know that in order to dispute hate, there has to be some hate inside of you. And so I hope to whoever is part of that, that they can break a generational curse. They can break all that barriers and wounds and insecurities that have built up, so that the future generation can come to love.
On a final note, when you look in the mirror today, what do you see?
Well, I see someone that's grown a lot.
Do you see a beautiful person?
Yeah. I think that there are some days where sometimes those traumas come back, and because I'm young, I'm still working on it, you know? And I know that I will reach one day where all those traumas won't affect me anymore. But right now, I'm still working on it, and more I see who God created me to be. And so I'm happy with that.
God created a beautiful person, inside and out.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Ramya.
Thank you, Nisha, I appreciate it.
Celebrate 1.2 billion shades of beautiful.
Say no to skin color discrimination. Dark is beautiful.
Embracing our individuality is essential when it comes to being happy. Trying to hide or change who we are in order to fit society's idea of who we should be often lessens our sense of self-worth, causing our self-esteem to plummet and allowing insecurities to soar. Sana and Ramya show us how important it is to love who we are. I'm Nisha Mathur reminding you that it's time to find your keys to Kismet and seize your destiny.